The days are coming when men will go mad, and when they meet a man who has kept his senses, they will rise up against him saying, "You are mad, because you are not like us." St. Anthony the Great, also known as St. Anthony the Abbot. Now there's a message being sent by the mainstream media and the government that everybody is missing. Of course, you have heard all day, all week, all year, go vote, go vote, go vote. But they're not vocalizing the next part of the message. They're saying, go vote, vote early, vote by mail, vote in person, but after you're done voting, shut up. Your participation level has now been achieved after we determine what you said with your vote. You then shut up. You see, that's the message of unity. When they say after the election, everybody just needs to be peaceful and quiet and all come together, and many are confused about where I stand. Very simple. Unity with the insane, whether they're on the left or the right, is a death sentence. And there are insane groups of people now driving both parties, Republican and Democrat. The reasonable people have been pushed to the side. The people who were in the middle have now been made irrelevant. We now have a bunch of crazies on the left and a bunch of crazies on the right that are in charge of everything. People that don't use their minds to make decisions. They use their emotions. If you'd like to get read in on how to discern, am I using my mind or am I using my emotions? Join us over at the Florida Monkey Patreon channel. You would think it would be a simple thing to assess, but these days, with the voluminous amount of information that people take in online, it is very, very difficult, unless you're in complete command of your thought life, to not get swayed by emotional posts that seem like they're thought-based. Now we have 4 levels at the Patreon channel, 1, 5, 10, and 15. Lots of new content up there. We did about a week ago a $1 level video that's for everybody. And then the next day, maybe the day after that, we put up one for the Need to Know Roundtable. That's the 5, 10, and 15. And then most recently, we did the joint briefing, unit commanders, brigade commanders. And of course, the second half of the briefing is brigade commanders only. And once again, give it a shot over there. Not for you. You've got until 5 February to make a decision and say, you know what, Florida Monkey? I gave you a shot. I really did. And I listened to it, and it's not for me. You know, can I have a refund? First 90 days, no questions asked. Nothing to lose. Now let's get right to it. First of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to Lisa Haven, Justice Knight over at Restricted Republic. I had made another video talking about how in this election, if Trump loses, that they will regret not having brought up COVID, not having brought up what happened with lockdown in 2021. And that's not even been discussed in the last, I haven't seen anybody discuss it other than Lisa Haven on her Instagram channel here. And this was actually from Jesse Waters' Primetime that they finally brought this up. And this was actually, I think, after I made my video. Dems wanted China's zero COVID policy, 55% wanted to fine unvaxxed Americans, 59% wanted to confine unvaxxed Americans to their homes. Nearly half wanted to imprison those who questioned vaccines. Almost half favor government tracking for unvaxxed people. And a third favored removing kids from unvaxxed people. So, once again, Lisa Haven, well done for bringing that up and showing that. This is Restricted Republic. This is their website. They have all sorts of fantastic content over here. They also have a foodie site called We're Forked Up. It's kind of fun, kind of racy. Her and Justice Knight go out to different restaurants. They're from Arizona, so they go kind of in the region, find the really great stuff, and order things and give you their opinion. It's actually good stuff. But in more relevant news, Trump admits he could lose. At the very end of the campaign, he said, quote, "Yeah, I guess, the former president replied, I guess you could lose. You can lose. I mean, that happens, right?" Trump insisted he had a pretty substantial lead over Harris, but yeah, you could lose. Bad things could happen. Things happen, but it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you this right now. If Trump loses, he will become venerated like a god. I could make an argument, I could probably do a whole video on why there's probably a part of him that wants to. Because imagine, no pressure. At that point, you don't actually have to deliver on any of the promises that you've made. Especially all those no tax on this, no tax on that, no tax on the other. Presidents don't decide taxes, Congress does. He has no control over that. So he would never have to deliver on that. Or even try to, or be seen as trying to. He'd be venerated like a god. His stock would go, his stock for True Social would go through the roof. He'd become far wealthier than he is now if he lost. But if he won, and he actually had to go govern for 4 years, he may not achieve everything that he said he's gonna. Unity with the insane is a death sentence. And guys, I'm just telling you right now, if you're questioning me and this channel and saying, it seems like you're for, I can make arguments for both. I can make arguments for why Trump would win and how that could actually be bad for him. And for his supporters, I can make arguments that if Trump loses, that might wake people up and get them more interested in states' rights and prepping and getting ready and fighting back against the federal government is because they're not your friend. So that would be a positive, but I think this little baby right here has kind of got, my sentiment on all this pretty much locked down with that expression. Like, things have gone a little bit too far, and I think that's what we're hearing from the media. See, this is what we're hearing from the media. Okay, viewer, we're going to do all these cool graphics, we're going to do all these neato maps, and then we're going to tell you again who wins, and then it's your job to accept it and shut the F up. You can make all your golden idols all you want and worship and, give obeisance to, but those of you that think I never pick on the left, this guy Raskin, Jamie Raskin, the House impeachment manager. Here's a little quote from him. President Trump may not know a lot about the framers, but they certainly knew a lot about him. Now, of course, he's making the allegation that they put in the 14th Amendment and other parts of the Constitution to prevent men like Donald Trump, big personalities, from just using personality to get elected. Mr. Raskin, sir, you're of the Jewish faith. The framers certainly knew a lot about you too, and the Jewish heritage. If you think for 1 minute that Jews were welcome by the founding fathers of this country and their compatriots, you are seriously deluded. There would have been, Mr. Raskin, I don't mean this with any disrespect whatsoever, sir, you wouldn't have been voting. You wouldn't have been taking part in any governmental activities whatsoever. You would have been very much likely not to even be participating in any town activities if the framers of the Constitution would have had their way. They didn't see Africans as people. They didn't see Native Americans as people. They saw them as property. They saw women as property. And Jews were persona non grata amongst the vast majority of the Protestant colonies. In fact, they had even John Locke, I believe, I'm trying to remember how long ago that was, that he was protesting the intermingling of Jews into the population and having them vote their priorities. And there was I'll have to look this up about the history of this. Wait, I do have it up. Hold on. Where is this? It was a while back. Well, I'll give you this link and you guys can find it. I know it's in here. I'm not going to waste a bunch of your time. But I believe it was in the American South that this happened with John Locke. That they this was not to hear Jamie Raskin talk about the founding fathers and the framers of the Constitution as having much more of a problem with Donald Trump than they would have had with his people is just unbelievable to me. And just to be clear, I'm sure a lot of you don't know that the head of the co-chair of the Republican National Committee, let me see, I have the title right here, Laura Trump, she's Jewish. And very, very well known that President Trump's daughter is married to a very powerful Jewish man. And even President Trump gave this Jewish man a great deal of credit for the Abraham Accords. And his oldest son is, very interesting, married to a woman that's actually older than his dad's wife. And she's actually Puerto Rican Irish. So they're Catholic. So that's got to make for some interesting dinner time around the table conversation. But just to give credit where credit is due, the St. Anthony comment that I led with was actually posted on Gina Carano's Instagram. And I thought, man, what an absolutely great quote for what she has had to go through. You know, living in the world that she lives in Hollywood and Disney and all this stuff, and to be surrounded by crazies. And to just, let me say this again, the days are coming when men will go mad, and they will meet a man who has kept his senses, or a woman who has kept her senses, and they will rise up against them saying, you are mad because you are not like us. So, just remember, here's what the media is really saying. Your vote is the last time they want to hear you speak for a long time, whether it's on the left or whether it's on the right. Vote and then go back, tax slave, and get back to work and do what we allowed you to live in our fiefdom to do. And that's drive our tax revenue. Everybody come together. No more protests, no more. This is the last time you're allowed to speak. Your voice is no longer relevant. If you have a problem, well, if you voted, well, then that was your vote. That was it. That was it. But a big black piece of tape over your mouth. You're not allowed to speak henceforth. Your vote is your only voice, is what they are saying. I will leave it there. Love to have you on Patreon. Join us over there. 1, 5, 10, 15, monthly, annually, however you do it. God bless. Thank you so much, everyone who's already over there. Pray for each other. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.